where does every strong man in the world throughout history, where do they go? They go for the books, they go for the journalists who tell the truth, and they go for librarians and the universities. Why? We hold the knowledge. Because
Well, I really enjoyed how you had the Fahrenheit 451 quotes throughout. Can you share why that book is still really relevant today?
Well, it was important for me to have some reference to art and cinema and life and what was happening, but Fahrenheit is the meta story of book banning and of the frightening dystopian reality that we seem to be moving toward, which is shocking.
I have great concerns about what happens to these kinds of public institutions. I think they're the gateway, actually, for safety and understanding, for families actually coming together, for families who feel very different than ourselves, actually finding a bridge. And I have enormous faith that if we allow our librarians to do their job and for people to calm down and listen, we have an opportunity to be wonderfully different people.
The CJ Knows Show. Hey, welcome back to the CJ Knows Show. My gosh, look who's here. The star of the Librarian, or one of the stars.
one of.
The star, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Marie Masferrer, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, tell us what you've been up to. I know this big unveiling
goodness.
of a documentary.
Yes.
You're the librarian, aren't you?
The Librarians includes about 20 librarians, and I have a very small segment. My part was actually connecting, because I see my fight against book bans as part of my calling. So we actually filmed at Holy Cross Catholic Church and Parish, which is where I worship every week, sing in the choir. If you want to hear some good guitar, my husband's on guitar. But I was very grateful to Father Teo for opening it up.
Is that in Palmetto?
That is in Palmetto.
I think you said Parish.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, being
We
a
do
Palmetto
cover-
guy, I because they say, I just want you to know, they say the convention center, in Manatee County,
Oh, yes.
even though it's Palmetto, they say that the Bradenton Yacht Club, even though it's in Palmetto. And now the church is in Parish. So I just wanted, it's the great city of Palmetto, right?
I think I mixed up Parish with
it's
one
so,
R versus
just
two.
being a Palmetto guy most of my life.
Well, a lot of people from Parish go to our parish,
Okay.
but I'm very grateful to him for allowing us to do that, and also to support our congregation as a whole. But
he knew the topic. He
did.
He knew what was going on, right?
He did, and he also knew that a lot of stories of our congregation are being erased. Many of our migrant families have felt the changes and what's happening in our world today. But the biggest part of it is my friend Amanda Jones from Louisiana and the Librarians from Texas. If you want to see an amazing group or to give some money that goes directly to their fight, they actually have a group called Freedom Fighters, with freedom spelled READ. But they're really the stars of the show. I'm the only one from Manatee County, but I maybe have 2 or 3 minutes of the film.
It's still great.
It is. I was very proud of how Kim Snyder is the director, and she actually was nominated for an Oscar this year for her Parkland documentary did, and we garnered top documentary prize at the Sarasota Film Festival. And I must give a shout out to that film festival. They did a wonderful job hosting, and it's very impressive.
They're wonderful.
Yes.
I once produced a couple movies that appeared there, young people that were doing films, and it's very important. I think you change the perception or people's minds through entertainment, through film, through comedy, through more so than you do probably through the real political process, unfortunately, especially when it comes to things like this, LGBTQ rights, other things. Society needs to change along to grow up, to come into the world, right?
And I love that Kim actually calls it a movement rather than a movie, because she sees it as a launching point, because the movie puts it in stark. I mean, it's just the connection to history, and also the money grab, that a lot of this is happening by people who are just, they're grabbing money, and it is a coordinated effort and also some
Queen
of,
Liberties for, you know, that group.
well, in Texas, there's actually the Patriot Cell Phone Group actually put millions of dollars in to take over school boards. And a lot of people didn't pay attention when Steve Bannon said we need to get to the heart of school boards and city councils, that's where it is. And that's when it started. They came for that. And we actually, in the movie, there's also a school board member from Texas who ran with that Patriot cell phone money and was on the board. She said, I was going to uncover the porn and the horrible things happening in our schools, and she didn't find it. So she's in the video as well. And when she changed her course, she actually had death threats against her as a school board member. And
there's some very evil alleged religious people or people of faith, which obviously they're not. But
and people who have been led astray to believe that we're doing things like that. Like, we're librarians. Like, you won't find, we're not really boring though. We get pretty loud when we get together. But we're very straight-laced, and we want to serve our community, and that's one reason that libraries
educate.
Exactly, and to provide. I mean, Manatee County Public Library is a perfect example of that. They are there for every need of the county, and if all you have to do is walk in and say, I don't know where to find this, or can you help me with this? And no, the public library system doesn't have money to hand out to people, but they can lead you to people who can help you.
You see the president now trying to control universities, trying to change the way he was attacking certain ones, but now they're going against everyone and regulations and laws and money. And
where does every strong man in the world throughout history, where do they go? They go for the books, they go for the journalists who tell the truth, and they go for librarians and the universities. Why? We hold the knowledge. Because if you can control the knowledge, you can control
the term
people.
woke is to be awake, means to be educated.
Exactly.
And we don't want the woke. They're just obviously out there pounding. We don't want you to read. We don't want you to think. We don't want you to be inclusive. We want you to follow the rules that we say, what the rules are and the laws and what they claim.
And everybody has to look the same and behave the same. And when they say,
usually white, I hate to say it. You do fit in, you know that. So.
Well, and I will, it actually came from an author at the American Association for School Librarians that met in Tampa last year. In one of her speeches, she says, I will use my privilege for power and purpose. And my friend Amanda, who's in the movie, she actually had a tattoo. It was the greatest thing ever. We had our librarian conference in the convention center at the same time as tattoo artists. So we were all getting tattoos. But Amanda got a P to the third power. And I remember that all the time, because if you can't use your privilege for something and to help someone else, then what's your purpose on this earth?
That's part of the argument why people should run, even if, let's say you're a Dem in a very Republican area, your odds of winning, I believe numbers. Like I like to say, Jesus Christ as a Democrat can't win in Sarasota, Maine.
No.
Even though they're all Christians. He's not going to win.
They kick Jesus out in a minute.
No, they kick him out in a second, because God forbid we follow Christ. That's that.
When Pope Francis quotes the actual quote of Jesus Christ, he's a liberal communist.
Yeah, right. Do you hear what, what was her name? Marguerite Taylor. I mean, just trashed him when he passed. Cold people. But anyway, a lot of right-wing religious nationalists believe that Catholics aren't Christians. I don't understand that, but that's
I've educated some children on that too.
Yeah, the gig and the idea is just to be educate yourself. I don't have to tell you what to think. Just truly educate yourself. Right. Read books. Read the left, the right, in between. Don't trust anybody except what
read it for yourself.
Read it for yourself. Don't believe what people say. If you're against the book, read the book and then make a determination. Right? How about that?
Right.
We'll be right back. More with Marie. God, you're amazing. You are truly cool.
Thank you, CJ.
All right, we'll be right back in a moment.
Isn't that what the founding fathers wanted for us? They didn't want anyone controlling our thoughts or how we live or the fear. They didn't want us to live in fear of a government and for that personal freedom. That's why the Bill of Rights are there, and that's why there's a First Amendment. And one of
The CJ Knows Show.
Well, welcome back to the CJ Knows Show. Look, it's Marie Masferrer, movie star.
Okay.
We're talking about the librarian. She is the librarian of the movie The Librarian documentary. out on Amazon Prime, right? And
Yes.
where it's going to be PBS too?
It'll be on PBS in the fall, and it's being taken around the country this summer by Penn America.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I understand one of the executive producers is Sarah Jessica
Parker. Sarah
Parker,
Jacobs
right,
Parker.
making that clear.
She is a child of library. She said the county library growing up, her mother would drop her there. She's one of 8 siblings, and it was a lifesaver and gave her first education.
Well, it's amazing how the arts can really make a difference in the lives of all of us. That open up honesty and change people's opinion more than the political system. And I think this is a great example of that. A lot of people are ignorant. They don't know what's going on with these book banning, and it seems like this is a vehicle to educate a lot of people. At least, hopefully, a lot of folks will go watch it. Please follow it up, watch it, and if you just fast forward to Marie's part at the very least, go do your part, get involved, watch this show. It's very important to participate and learn and educate ourselves. I want you to be woke. I know that's not fashionable. I want you to be educated. It's not saying this is a woke thing.
Well, and it will.
But it is an education.
Well, and it will connect you to the past and what's happening now, and show you the process and some of the behind the scenes and the scheming that has been uncovered by everyday people, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, people of all political stripes are coming together to say this is not okay, and it's destroying their communities or ripping their communities apart.
Well, you can have whatever political opinion. You can be a liberal, a conservative, in between, whatever. But allow us to educate ourselves. That's it. Allow us to have access to information and for us to make our own decisions regarding things. This is what this is about. It's not making you one thing or the other. One group that does it to me is the radical right. They have their definition of what freedom is, but real freedom is about educating yourself, coming to your own conclusions of what you want to believe,
and living your life. I mean, isn't that what the founding fathers wanted for us? Or they didn't want anyone controlling our thoughts or how we live or the fear. They didn't want us to live in fear of a government and for that personal freedom. I mean, that's why the Bill of Rights are there, and that's why there's a First Amendment. That's why there's a First Amendment. And one of the worst statements you can make online is that the reason the First Amendment is there is because there's a second one, but it's more important. Never say that to a conservative online.
Well, I won't say, but here we go. Tell us a little bit about the film, a little bit more detail. I know inquiring minds want to know.
Well, actually, the last time I was here, Kim and her crew were here.
Right.
Kim Snyder is the director, and she filmed almost 2.5, 3 years. And that's one reason my part is very few minutes, a teeny tiny bit, but it does bring to light what happened here in Manatee County of how we covered up the classroom library shelves and what was happening with our students and how our students felt about it. But she filmed from California to New Jersey, and she went to school board meetings, and there's an incredible exchange in Texas of a mother and son where the mother was trying to get books banned, and her son is gay, and he came up. He actually drove across the country to speak at the school board meeting to explain the books didn't do that to him. He was born that way, and what his upbringing was like, and it actually is very painful to watch a mother and son in the situation they're in, but it gives an overview of all different perspectives of what's happening, from the political and money side of things to librarians and what we've gone through personally, some of the death threats and things that happened to me were so minuscule compared to my friends Amanda and Martha. For Martha, she'd worked in the same school district for more than 20 years, and a man who knew her for 8 years was sitting in the room when she was called a pedophile and said nothing. I mean, if one of your friends or a colleague or someone you've worked with for almost 10 years, wouldn't you say, I know.
They're cowards.
And that's where Martin Luther King's words keep coming back to me.
Which
it's
are?
not our enemies that we have to fear, but it's the apathy.
Of our
friends.
What is it? The Ian Kershaw, the famous Jewish historian, saying that the road to Auschwitz was built with hate and paved with indifference, or something. The point being that we need to be participating and stand up and speak up when it doesn't affect us personally. We still have that responsibility in whatever venue or era.
Even just for what you believe as an American, is the Constitution important? Is the First Amendment important? Because this is the cornerstone
Not to half
of
the
our
people
country.
in this country right now.
I don't understand.
There was
that
an
CJ.
article recently talking about how most of MAGA is fine with authoritarian. I don't think they're educated. I think that's one of the problems. They're not educated. They're not thinking. They're not processing things.
And I think fear. From when I've joined in with protests and see people, I want to say, why are you so angry? You control all the branches of government. Why are you screaming? I really think part of their thing is fear, because the world they have known, it's changing.
But I remember Christy Nome, and she was in a CNN interview or something, and she goes, we don't trust the deep, but you are the deep state.
You're in it now, Christy.
You're in charge of the deep state. And she's like threatening the deep state. Oh,
we can't use that rhetoric.
yeah.
Taught them that.
I'm sorry.
Well, and my biggest fear is for the students of Florida. I mean, just today, they're hearing on the House floor, it's House Bill 1539. If you are watching this, please call your representatives, please call your senators. It can gut our libraries and gut our public education system. And I truly believe that's the whole point of this entire movement, is to get rid of public education, because public education is where we level the playing field in America. It's where we give everybody a leg up to start their life with education.
But Marie, you can't fix stupid. I'm sorry. So I hate to say it. So, I mean, I think that
you can't fix it, but you can vote it out.
Yeah, well, oh, I like that. That was worth everything.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't fix stupid, but you can vote it out. I love that.
Okay, I'm copywriting that. Nobody steal it. I'm making my money on that.
Listen, it's been awesome to have you here.
Thank you.
You've got to run. I mean, not run for your life, but run for office and do something. You need to get that. No, I'm serious. You are well known in our community. They love you, they hate you.
Thank you.
But you're making a difference, and it's great to see you. And congratulations. I mean, I'm very proud of you. I don't want to say this. I pimp you everywhere. I talk about you to all the people. And
you can say you knew me when.
No, you're my hero, because you really are. I always ask young people, so what are you in this earth to do? I mean, it's not just about making money. That's important. It's about making a difference. And I love that you've just come up with this great expression. We did. You can't fix stupid, but you can vote them out. I love that. We're going to write a book with that title. I love that.
We need a book on that.
Amazing. Thank you for being on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Awesome.
The CJ Knows Show.